BlackRock.
Today, BlackRock is the most powerful asset management company in the world. The asset that it manages has crossed $15 trillion, an amount larger than the combined annual economies of Germany, Japan, and India. So, what's special about BlackRock and what strategy did Larry Fink use to make it such a powerful company? In today's video, let's understand BlackRock's business model.
BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager.
Larry, we've got what were the most profitable companies the world has ever seen.
At first, it might seem like BlackRock owns the world, but this is not true. $15 trillion does not mean that all that money belongs to BlackRock. BlackRock directly owns a tiny portion of overall portfolio. Out of over $15 trillion it manages, the firm's own corporate equity and net assets are less than $100 billion. Think of a person managing the savings of an entire neighborhood. The manager may control a huge pool of money, but the money still belongs to the family who contributed it. BlackRock does the same thing on a global scale. It manages and invests customers' money and make more money out of it. Its clients include pension funds, insurance companies, universities, governments, large businesses, and ordinary people saving for retirement. So you might ask how BlackRock earns money from managing assets. So BlackRock earns money by charging management fee. The fee on one person's investment may be tiny, but a tiny fee on trillions of dollars becomes an enormous business. Also imagine you invest 1 lakh rupees to BlackRock and it charges a management fee of just 0.2%. So you would pay only 200 rupees a year, an amount that may feel almost unnoticeable. But if that same tiny percentage is charged across $10 trillion, it becomes around $20 billion. So this is BlackRock's business model. Collect small fee from an unimaginably large pool of money. So this gives BlackRock a simple reason to keep growing. Managing asset is the main source of revenue for BlackRock, but this is not the only source of revenue. Another important source of revenue for BlackRock is its technology platform called Aladdin. Aladdin cannot predict the future, but it can help institutions to spot possible danger before making major decisions. Combining all the revenue of BlackRock, in 2025, it was around $24 billion. It is being estimated that in 2026, it will be around $28 billion. BlackRock usually does not take clients' entire money and invest in just one company. Instead, it spreads that money across many companies and different types of investment. For example, if you invest in a fund that follows the S&P 500, your money is divided across hundreds of companies such as Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, banks, healthcare companies, and many others. So even if one company performs badly, the entire investment does not collapse because the money is spread across the market. Along with BlackRock, there are two other major investment firms, that is Vanguard and State Street. Vanguard alone managed approximately $12 trillion in assets and State Street managed $6.28 trillion in assets. And this is where the story becomes even stranger. BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street do not just hold shares in thousands of other companies. Their funds also hold shares in one another. Vanguard and State Street manage funds own parts of BlackRock, while BlackRock and Vanguard manage funds own parts of State Street. Vanguard itself cannot be bought in a same way because it has a different ownership structure. But the real shock is not this financial loop, but these three companies appear among the biggest shareholders of companies like Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, banks, airlines, and pharmaceutical giants. They do not fully control these companies, but when the same three institutions sit near the top of thousands of shareholder lists, companies cannot simply ignore them. Take Amazon as an example. The big three together own around 16% of its shares, while founder Jeff Bezos owns about 9%. Think about that. Amazon's founder owns around 9%, while funds managed by the big three collectively own an even larger share. This does not mean they own or control Amazon together. The money mainly belongs to their investors, but it gives a small number of asset managers enormous voting influence, not only inside Amazon, but across thousands of world's biggest companies. One of the biggest reasons behind BlackRock's success is its co-founder and CEO Larry Fink. In 1988, Fink and 7 partners started the business that would become BlackRock. Larry Fink did not begin his career as a head of global empire. He grew up in a middle-class family in California, studied political science, and later completed an MBA focused on real estate. And he then entered Wall Street through a company called First Boston, where he worked with bonds and mortgage-related investments. Larry Fink became extremely successful in this market, but one day everything changed. made a wrong prediction about interest rates, and the investment he managed lost around $100 million. Almost overnight, the celebrated financial expert became the person everyone blamed. His reputation collapsed and eventually left the company. For most people, that might have been the end of the story. For Larry Fink, it became the beginning. Now BlackRock is also connected to India. Geo Financial Service and BlackRock together created a new company called Geo BlackRock, owned equally by both sides, 50% by Geo Financial Service and 50% by BlackRock. Think of it like two people opening investment business together. Geo Financial Service brings the Indian side of the business and BlackRock brings the investment side. Together, they create investment products for Indians under the name Geo BlackRock Mutual Fund. Here is what happens when you invest. Suppose you invest 1000 rupees in a Geo BlackRock Nifty 50 index fund. Geo BlackRock collects your money along with money from thousands of other investors. The fund then uses that pooled money to purchase shares of companies included in the Nifty 50. Your 1000 rupees is not simply given to Geo, and BlackRock does not become the owner of your money. Your money remains inside the mutual fund scheme and is invested according to that scheme's stated rules. Geo BlackRock manages the fund and charges a small management expense. That fee becomes an income for the joint business venture. Since Geo Financial Service and BlackRock jointly own the business, the benefit of Geo BlackRock attracts more investors and earn more fees. For years, BlackRock's influence came from holding shares in thousands of companies, but now it is moving closer to far more physical. The infrastructure people depend on every day: airports, roads, data centers, water systems, and even electricity network. Why this makes people nervous? Minnesota Power shows why this makes people nervous. The company supplies electricity to around 150,000 customers and belong to a parent company called Elite. In 2025, Elite was bought for about $6.2 billion by Canada's CPP Investments and Global Infrastructure Partner, or GIP, a company BlackRock had acquired the year before. So BlackRock did not buy Minnesota Power alone, but through GIP it became connected to the company behind an essential electricity service. And electricity is not like buying shoes. If one brand becomes expensive, you can choose another. But if there is only one electricity provider in your area, you cannot switch companies. You still need power and you still have to pay the bill. And that is why critics become worried. The buyers spent billions on the deal, so naturally their investors expect returns. Would those returns come from improving the grid and building cleaner energy, or could they eventually create pressure for higher bills, cost cutting, or more deal? Supporters argued that Minnesota Power needs massive investment, and GIP and CPP have the money to modernize it. The company also remains regulated and customer protections were added. But the controversy reveals a much bigger question. When essential services become investment assets, who comes first? The people who depend on them or the investors expecting a profit? So does BlackRock own the world? Not literally. But through the trillions it managed, its voting power, Aladdin technology, and global investments, its influence reaches almost everywhere. BlackRock will not own the world, but it has become too powerful to ignore.